Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for, okay. I missed last week, so this is, again, August 7th, but, so I'm going to do 2 weeks worth, which is not what I like to do because I do like to talk a lot, and this video is going to be long, so heads up. Anyway, so I'm going to kind of go through these kind of quickly, the books that I read and the ones I didn't. Last weekend, I went on a little road trip with my parents and my brother. I got kind of roped into going. I wasn't planning on it. And we went to Crater Lake. So that was quite a lot of driving. I did not drive because I had just hurt my foot out in the backyard. Luckily now it doesn't hurt, but it did last weekend. So I didn't drive last weekend, but my parents and my brother took turns on certain things. So we drove from our house, my brother and I, down to my parents' house, and then we drove to Crater Lake on Saturday, and then was up there for quite a while, and then cut over to Medford to where my aunt and uncle live. They had remodeled their house right before COVID hit, so we never got to see all the improvements, so we finally went over and got to see them and spent the night there. And then in the morning we left about mid-morning and then drove back to my parents' house, and then then my brother drove us home, which was horrible traffic, and I was glad that he drove because my foot was hurting so bad just in the car, let alone if I had been driving, so because it's my driving foot. Anyway, from my injury from over 10 years ago. Anyway, it was just a weird week. Anyway, but it was gorgeous up there, except again it was a little hazy from some of the smoke coming in from California, so it wasn't quite as clear as it could have been, but we got to stop everywhere. We got to stop. There's a lot of people up there, but people were being pretty good about social distancing. We didn't, it was pretty good. Anyway, it worked out well. So anyway, beyond that, work has just been crazy. It's the summer season, so there's things that are happening that are changing all our schedules around. It's been really weird. We've had night work, so I have guys who are working at night right now that I don't see at all. At least when they were on swing, I can see them, but I don't see them right now, so it's mostly communicating through emails, which is not fun. But anyway, so it's been kind of weird. So anyway, yeah, sorry for that. I mean, but I really didn't get a chance to film anything last weekend, and weekends are when I can film. It's really hard for me to do it during the week. It's just, I'm tired by the time I get home, and I don't feel like it. So anyway, I didn't get anything up last week, so sorry about that, but anyway, so we'll get into this because this is going to take me a while, and some of this is, you know, I've talked about this in like the week before that. I did talk about some of these that I had been in the middle of, and then so we're just going to go through my normal format. I'm just going to talk about all the stuff that I finished, the books I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. And I do mean this next week. I'm not gonna, as I said, I didn't mean to miss. It's just I was so tired by the time I got back from that trip. I couldn't film. Anyway, so the first thing I finished back in end of July was Orkney by Amy Sackville. I read this from the library. I just picked it up kind of on a whim from seeing it on Laura's channel, Book Bubbler. I don't know if she actually read it. I did. It was weird. It has to do with an older man around 60 who marries one of his former students who's like 21 or 21 I think she is, and it's their honeymoon to the Orkney or islands north of Scotland, and it's a little bizarre. So again, it's all from his point of view mostly, and their conversations are weird, and what he thinks and what she thinks happened on certain things are kind of weird. It was a weird book. It's not a book that I will remember much of. Things are starting to fade. I did not like the ending, so that probably hurt it because of the way it went. Even though I knew part of it was going to go that way, I didn't like the way it went or how it ended. I was kind of like, that was kind of blah, you know. So anyway, it was weird. Just has to do because he was a mythology or, you know, teacher, professor, or writing papers on that. So there's a lot of allusions to myths and things like that, women in myths. It was interesting. I think it's written really well. It was not my kind of book. I picked it up on a whim and tried it, and then it was so short I just finished it. So yeah, it was not my best read. Anyway, anyway. I did then after that finish my reread of Persuasion by Jane Austen. I was listening to this on audio by Juliet Stevenson. This was just great. Again, this is my second favorite Austen, but so close. They are so close together between this and Pride and Prejudice. But I got to listen to both of those in Jane Austen July. So this was I did get to 2 of her novels, so that was really good. So I just love this book. I don't need to talk about it too much. I think most people know what Persuasion is, but if you don't, as I said, it is one of my favorites. Because again, it's a kind of a quieter novel of hers. So anyway, so then I finished another library book. Yeah, I had a lot of library books I was trying to get through at the end. I'm trying to cut off my library stuff. Was it June or May, June, July? I don't know. I've got too many books out of the library and too many on hold list. So I have reduced everything. The only things now left on my hold list are manga stuff that I'll talk about in a minute, and then books that are coming out in the fall that I don't want to buy hardback, but I got the library to buy them for me. So yeah, so I only have right now 5 on my hold list, which is really good. That's where I want to be. Anyway, but I was trying to get through some of my books. So one of the Jane Austen inspired ones I read was The Heiress, The Revelations of Anne de Bourgh by Molly Greenlee. This one I had trouble with. I started it. So again, this was from the last week of July that I finished this. I had read it 2 weeks before that and got to a point where I got bored. So this is again a Pride and Prejudice retelling from Anne de Bourgh's point of view. And part of it, I really liked the beginning because it was hard and it was really showing answers to certain questions about Anne de Bourgh that, you're like, well, that could have happened in that time frame or in that time period. But I didn't like really where it went. I don't know why. I just didn't enjoy it as much. I guess I wanted it to go a different way. I wanted certain things to happen, and it went in a direction that just wasn't what I thought Anne de Bourgh would do. So I did like it. I did like the end a little bit. Like I liked kind of how they wrapped that up. Okay, take it back. I liked how it got to the end of the climax, the end of the story, but I didn't like the very end, the epilogue or the last chapter that was just hocus pocus, like mumbo jumbo. I don't know what the heck that was added on the end. So I did not like the end, but I liked what it got to before we got to right to the very end, if that makes any sense. I didn't like this book all that much. I actually didn't give it a high rating because I put it down like 3 or 4 times and wasn't sure I was going to continue. It kept doing things that I'm like, no, I don't want that, or I didn't like that. But it wasn't badly written. It really just was not anything what I imagined it was going to be, I guess. So partly it's me, partly it was just, I was like, why? And then again, that last chapter, I didn't like that. Anyway, but I got that from the library, so, and it just came out this year, so it's pretty new, so I don't know. I mean, I think other people might have liked it. I don't know if I've seen anybody actually have read it. I've heard about it, but I haven't seen anybody read it. But, anyway, and then, in the last week of July, I did my buddy read with Tia and all the books. We did book number 4, Magic Bleeds by Ilona Andrews. This is, book 4 in the Kate Daniels series. So we are committed to trying to finish this series this year. We'll see how this goes. It's quite a few books that we still need to read. But I really enjoyed this one. This was probably my favorite of the books so far. Because, again, it's building on stuff that happened in the first 3 books. And the relationships between the characters are building, and misunderstandings and things, but things happen that I really enjoyed this one. So this was fun. I said we're going to continue on here in August. We'll be reading more of these books and some of the novellas in between. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, I'm really enjoying this series farther into it. Again, book 1 is kind of, it wasn't all that good, but we'll follow Kate Daniels, who is a mercenary. Again, I'm talking about the first book where we live in, it's in an alternate Atlanta where magic has come back into the world, so it ebbs and flows. And so when the magic is up, no technology works. And when the magic is down, then the technology will work and no magic really works. So overall, I'm really enjoying this because, again, it has shifters and it has a different type of a vampire thing. It has people who are kind of godlike in certain ways. It's a very interesting mix. I'm really enjoying the journey of this. So as I said, we'll be reading more fairly soon because we gotta get through those books. And then the next book I finished for July, I think that was the end of July. Yeah, so this is the last book I finished in July because I finished Magic Bleeds and this one on the same day and on Friday the 30th. This isn't going to blow up very well, is it? Yeah, it's not going to do it. So anyway, but it's These Three Remain, which is book 3 in the Fitzwilliam Darcy, A Gentleman trilogy by Pamela Aiden. And so I read the whole trilogy this month. I liked this book a lot. This follows a lot of the book from the Cant scenes on to the end. So this was a very exciting book for that, and her talking from Darcy's point of view, everything that happened and his thoughts. I liked the first book and the third book better. The second book was kind of iffy because she went on kind of again, she took a direction I wasn't really into and I didn't really enjoy fully. But overall, I think it was a solid series. If you're looking for a retelling of Pride and Prejudice from Darcy's point of view, it is 3 books. The first book is short, and then the middle book is over 300 page book, and then the last one is over 400, and it's just, but again, it's got the most stuff in the last book. So I really enjoyed this. It's not like a favorite. Again, I have problems with retellings of being favorites unless they're really, not well done. That's not what I want to say. They really hit me the right way. And then again, most of the things she did in here, I did like. There was a few little tweaks with timelines that she did that doesn't match Pride and Prejudice, the original. But I think they're minor. I think it's a solid series and I would recommend it. If you want to read a retelling on Pride and Prejudice from Darcy's point of view. It was a fun. I'm glad I read those all together in the same month because it made more sense. Anyway, so Cooper is getting in my way here now. Okay, so that was the end of July, so that's what I should have wrapped up last week, which I didn't. Let's see, do I have any more on here? No. So, yes, Cooper. So then this week again, work was crazy, and again, I had the weekend. I didn't read anything because I was with family most of the time, and then when I got home, I was so tired. I had to just read pages that I had for a buddy read, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the first book I finished was on Thursday. This week was A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. This is the first book in the Monk and Robot book or series. So this just came out in July, so I was one of the top people or holds in my library, so I finally got it. And I read it fairly quickly. Again, it's only about 149 pages. 47 pages, I think, actually. So I really, I like Becky Chambers a lot. I haven't still read the 4th book in the Wayfarer series, but I will maybe next month. We'll see. I don't know if I want to read another one of hers right now. This I liked. I did like this. I don't think it was what I thought it was going to be. So we're following a world where technology had reached a peak, and they had robots and everything that ran all the factories, and all the people were kind of mostly out of work. They didn't have anything to do. And then the robots gained consciousness and left. And so this is hundreds of years or thousands, I don't know how many years later. Actually, I can't remember now how long it was. But it's many years later, and the robots have been gone a really long time. So civilization has rebuilt. And they've changed how they do things, and there are no more, AI, no robots or anything, because they don't want that to happen again. And then, so this monk, they is the terminology, I'm sorry. Dex is a tea monk, so they travel around in their little little carriage thing. I can't think I don't remember now what I'm talking. And it's like a little kind of bike. So and they meet. They decide to go on this little side trip. They've been wanting to hear crickets forever, and they wanted to go to this mountain where there used to be kind of a place where, you know, people, a hermitage, or, you know, places where people would go for religious travels and stuff. I'm not thinking in terms right now. I'm just, anyway, sorry. But, and when they are on the road, they meet a robot that nobody's seen one in, you know, forever, or as long as any of the people who are alive have. So, Moscap is, on a journey of his own, and it's on a journey of its own. And so it's there going to this hermitage and, getting to know each other, and then deciding what to do in the future. So it's the first book in a series. I'm not explaining this very well. Sorry about that. And this cat is distracting me, because I'm kidding. I know, I love you too. Come on. I like this. I didn't love it. It was not a favorite or anything. I probably will read the next book just to see where it goes. There were some interesting things in here. I think I was the most shocked at how much cursing was in here. I have nothing against it. Don't get me wrong. I read a lot of books that have cursing in it. I don't know why, but it surprised me how much in here. First, maybe it's just a short book, and maybe because he's a monk, or they're a monk. I'm not sure. Something was going on there. I don't know, but it was a weird. Again, it was quick. I don't know. I was kind of, okay, I was okay. It was okay. It's okay. It's fine. I got it from the library. I'm not gonna, it's fine. And then Friday and Saturday, I read a volume each of Kami Can't Communicate by Tomohito Oda, which is translated, I believe, by John Weary. Oh, I've lost the little thing here. Yeah. So I'm just continuing on with this series. Again, it's just a high school drama or, you know, high school series where it's following Kami, who has communication issues, and she is getting help from her friend Tadano to get more friends and to, you know, be more open and meeting other people and stuff. So it was just, again, they're just cute. I really enjoy the characters in here, and I'm just continuing on with the series. So I asked for the next 2 from my library. So those are 2 of the 5 holds I have at the library. So that'll probably come in sometime next week, and so I'll get more read. I'm not sure how long the series is. I know it's in the teens. I know there's at least 13. I just don't know if it's still going on, or I don't know. I have to look into that. But I got both those done, which was, well, they were just fun. Anyway, that was kind of. And then my buddy read for the first week of Women in Translation Month. So this book I just finished yesterday, which is out by Natsuo Carino. This is translated by Stephen Snyder. This is so I thought this was just a horror book, you know, like a horror story, I guess. I don't know. It is a little gruesome, but I would definitely put this more in the domestic thriller section. It just kind of played that way. But again, not like domestic thrillers now. This was written in published first in 97, I believe. And then we got a translation in 2003, I believe. Yeah. So again, this is from the 90s in Japan. So be aware of economic things that are going on in the 90s more pertain to this than maybe right now. So we're talking, 4 women work at a box lunch factory, and they work the night shift for various reasons for their lives and economically, or because of their families and stuff. So one of the women kills her husband, and then the others help her dispose of the body. And the way that they do that is very interesting. So I knew this was going to be gruesome in that way of things happening. This went in so many ways. I had no idea. I had no idea where it was, like, how it was going to turn out. I had an inkling of what I wanted the end to be, which is what I got, which is, I'm happy with that. The journey it never went ways I for sure thought it was going to. There was definitely some turns. I'm like, whoa, I did not see that coming. So there's some good twists in here. There's some gruesome things in there. There's some things I didn't enjoy. There's like a certain part of the very end, or not the very end, but the climax that I was like, no, I don't buy that. But that's, again, coming from you know, 20 some years later and going, yeah, no, that's not, I don't think that's a good thing. So I think that hurt it as well. But really, I almost DNF'd this about, well, probably about 100 pages in. Not sure, I didn't mark where it was. I almost DNF'd it. So I read this as a buddy read with Maria at MH Books, which helped me a lot get through that section. If I had not said I would read the third section, I would not have made it through this book, because the third section was really good. So there was just something in the second section where I was just like, I'm not digging this. I don't want to read this. I don't want to pick this book up. And again, this was not a book that I will pick up again. This is definitely a book that I'll probably get rid of, just because I've read it now and I don't need to read it again. I don't think I'm going to go back to it ever. But I'm glad I did, because it is one of those ones where I see on people's bookshelves, and I don't know very many people actually read it. So we actually did. I'm glad we got through it. As I said, it was just, I don't know, it was just it's not my kind, it's not the kind of mysteries that I read very often, and I don't really do many domestic thrillers, but I think the gruesome part was all good for me. That I totally, those part of the storylines I didn't have a problem with. I didn't like, as I said, I had issues with some of it, of holding my attention, but I think that's just because it was a domestic thriller. And then, and again, the character I rooted for, you know, I'm glad the way things went on certain things. And then again, there's that one hiccup at the climax I didn't like, but you know. Anyway, overall, I'm glad I did it. It was my first book for this month in Women in Translation, so it is done, and I finished it, and I am glad that's done. Anyway, so let's talk real quick about the books that I'm in the middle of. So, I picked this back up yesterday as Seven Surrenders by Ada Palmer. I'm rereading this by audio, and oh, I forgot. I don't know who the narrator is. Sorry. Is it T. Ryder Smith? I'm not sure. Okay, I'll get it next time. Point is that I'm still trying to get this done. I still have over 100 pages to get through this, to finish this. I'm trying to reread all the books before the fourth book comes out. So this is the second book in the Terra Ignata series. First book is To Like the Lightning, and this is futuristic, utopian going to dystopian kind of thing, where the world has this system where they're not countries anymore. There are hives where people belong to a hive, or they are hiveless, and there are 8 major hives, and people get to choose when they reach their majority, and then they live in groups like pods kind of thing, where and just the name went right out of my head, but they call them Bosch. They call them Bosch, and so that's what they live with, and who they report to and things. And we follow one of the Bosches that controls the flying cars all over the world and the things that they are involved with. But our narrator is one of the best, unreliable, but I don't know, it's hard to explain him. Mycroft Canner, and he has his own history that you learn throughout the first book. Again, we're in book 2 now, so the world is shifting, things are happening. There hasn't been a war in over 200 or 300 years, so now there are inklings of one is coming because of them not having one for so long. So there's a lot of things going on in this book, and then we'll continue into the next book. But anyway, I'm trying to get my audiobook done this month on this book so that next month I can listen to The Will to Battle and finish off my reread before the fourth book comes out in October, because I'm really excited for the last book. I have no idea. I mean, I have some inklings of what might happen because of what happened in the third book, but it's been a couple years since I read that, so I'm enjoying my reread. So I got a good chunk of it done yesterday while I was helping my parents clean their house, because their 50th wedding anniversary is coming up in a couple of weeks, and then we're going to have a outdoor party for them. So we were getting the outdoor on their property done for that. Yeah, it wasn't what I planned to do yesterday morning, but I got to listen to my audiobook at least. So And then I picked up another Women in Translation book, The Whole by Hiroku Yamada, which is translated by David Boyd, I think. Hold on. Yes, from the Japanese. So again, I have a lot of Japanese literature books on my shelf. This is one of the smallest ones. I decided to pick this one up next because it's one of the ones I pre-ordered last year after reading her book The Factory, which was weird. And I don't know why I did, except this is a kind of it's supposed to be kind of like an Alice in Wonderland retelling. So a young housewife, well, no, not young. She's like 30. And her husband gets a transfer out into the country. And so they move next door to his parents' house. And so he's working. And she, at that point, because they're now out of the country, there's nowhere for her to get a part-time job or any kind of job yet. Because they just got there. And then strange things start to happen. She sees a strange animal that she follows into a field and falls into a hole. And it goes from there. I haven't read much farther than that. I'm not going to say much of what happens, but I'm only 44 pages in, and this is like maybe, 92 pages. So I'm almost halfway, and I don't have a clue what this story is about or it's just her. I don't know. We'll see what happens. As I said, it's a quick read. I'm hoping to get it done today or tomorrow. Just read to get another book done. And again, I pre-ordered this last year, and I shouldn't have, because usually I wait to hear what other people say before I buy some of my translated works, but for some reason I bought this pre-ordered, so I think I better read it this year and get it done. So anyway, I'm reading that. And then the other book that I am working on right now is Deal with the Devil by Kit Rocha. This is the first book in the Mercenary Librarians series. So I've read some of their more erotic series, the Beyond series that they self-published several years ago, and I read half that series. I don't think I ever finished it. I got like halfway, and then I had to wait for books, and then they had kind of a stall, or they didn't publish for a little bit, and so I've forgotten most of what that series is about, and then they finished it off, and I've just never gone back and finished it. Anyway, it was a good series. It was a good apocalyptic series, but this one's also apocalyptic. So this is following Nina, who is with a group of two others, Maya and Danny, and they are all enhanced in some ways. This is like in the future, like 2080, I think it's something close to that. Yeah, it's after I know it's after 2060. I can't remember. So it's a little bit past that. And it's supposed to be where some solar flares took out pretty much the world and a lot of things. So they are approached by the Silver Devils, who are they were a group of mercenaries who were attached to one of the big companies who now run Atlanta. And they have cut ties and are actually on the brink of dying because of chemicals that their bodies were introduced to with their enhancements from the company. And so they need Nina to get their herb master back, who's been kidnapped. And it's like this twist. So, but it also has to do with ruins and things that they're going to go searching for old books from before the flares and stuff. Or the solar flares, yeah. So, okay, I haven't read very far. My biggest problem with this so far is I like the characters so far. I like the world building, because again, they do apocalyptic pretty good. My problem is the line. And again, I have this problem is because, and I know why the main male character, Knox, is lying to get close to Nina for this reason, because again, he's trying to save another of his team members. But I hate it. I hate when things start out with lying like that. And it's hard for me right now because I like the world and I like the way how fast-paced it's been so far. But I'm just like, it's hard for me to pick up a book when I have the main characters who are the ones I'm supposed to care about are lying. It's hard for me. So, I mean, so I'm going to give it another 50 pages at least today. And And hopefully it'll come out that he was lying and then I'll be fine. I don't know if it goes much longer than that. I don't know if I could read this book. It might just not be for me. And I'm really sad because the second book is coming out in the end of August and I already have it pre-ordered. So I can cancel my pre-order if I decide I don't like this, but I want to like the Mercenary Librarians. So we'll see. As I said, it's again, it's not the librarians I have the trouble with, it's the guys that are lying. Anyway, so we'll see how this goes. I'm not sure. As I said, I'm only 55 pages in, so I'm going to give it at least another 50 and then decide. So we'll see what happens. And then I don't know what I'm going to pick up next. I didn't bring anything in here because I don't have a clue. Because I either want to pick up, I have one more library book that I might want to pick up that's a fantasy. I have a fantasy that I want to pick up right away. That's on my list. I have several more women in translation books that I want to read. So it could be anything. I just want to leave it kind of open. The only other, oh, I don't think I have a picture of it. Do I have a picture? No, I didn't. But okay, I'm just going to show this up. I am, later this week reading, it's actually Magic Dreams, which is the next, novella for the Kate Daniels series by Elena Andrews. I'll be reading that with, Tia and all the books. So we will be continuing, but I didn't get a picture of it, but I have it on ebook. So, it's just, about 90 some pages. So we're going to at least read that one. And then later, probably another week out, then we'll probably start the Magic Slays, which is the next novel. So, but that's kind of it. I'm just going to do this real quick, just to finish off July. I will redo it for August next week, just because that's just the way. We're a little behind this week. Anyway, so, let's see here. I don't get to mark. I got to finish the series because I finished these three remain. So I finished it, and it's a historical fiction. I finished the historical fiction of the Heiress, so that's also there. Magic Bleeds was a continue of the series because that was part of that. And then Persuasion was a reread and a classic. And then Orkney doesn't count on anything on here because anyway, so this is what my July looks like. Pretty good. I did not DNF any books. The books that I almost DNF'd, I finished those, so that's pretty good. I did pretty good on my series. Of course, one of them is like a full series. I did the whole thing there. Classics again, two were they were all for Jane Austen July. So I didn't do much for nonfiction, just got one. I did a lot of historical fiction, a lot of retellings. I did get a couple ebooks in, which is good for me. And then, as I said, my rereads, I had 5 rereads. So that was pretty good for me. I don't usually reread quite that. I mean, I do if I start reading the series and want to get into it, but that was a pretty good month for that. So that is everything. Long video. Sorry about that, guys, but that's 2 weeks worth. And I was trying to be really short. Didn't really work. Anyway, so that's it. Have you guys read any of these? Or what are you guys reading? Anything good? Or what are you guys reading for women in translation? As I said, I have several I still want to get to, so we'll see how I can get that in. But I also want to get some fantasy in there. I've just been craving it. And I have so much mini books that I want to read. So we'll see how this goes. So anyway, Cooper and I will see you guys later. Bye.